Some trees, such as the holly and most conifers, have leaves that lose little water in winter. They lose what? Little water in winter. This allows the trees to stay in leaf all through the year. To stay in leaf all through the year. Trees that behave in this way are called evergreen trees. Are called what? Evergreen trees, like the picture down in the left, the first one from the left. Do you see the difference between the deciduous trees and evergreen trees? Deciduous trees lose their leaves in winter. Why? Because their leaves are so big, are broad, right? And they lose water in winter. But here, their leaves don't lose a lot of water. Okay, they lose little water in winter. That's why they don't lose their leaves, and they're called evergreen trees. Plants that float on the open water of a pond in spring and summer don't remain there in the winter. Do you see the picture in the down? This is an example for plants that float on the open water of a pond. They float when in spring and summer, but we don't find it in winter. Duckweed produces individuals that sink to the pond floor. They produces what? Individuals that sink to the pond floor, while the water plant called frogbed produces heavy seeds. It produces heavy seeds. The plants around the water's edge die back and survive in the mud. Like when the winter comes, we will not see it, but it is still alive. It survives in the mud. We find it in the mud as thick stems called rhizomes. Do you see the picture in the right? This is rhizome. So we don't see the plant above, but under the mud we find these rhizomes. When the conditions allow it to grow again, it grows to the plant again. You got it? Okay, these are rhizomes. And that's it about plant adaptations to seasonal changes. Let's know about animal adaptations to seasonal changes. In plant adaptations to seasonal changes, we know about deciduous trees, we know about evergreen trees, and we know about rhizomes. Let's know what happens in animal in seasonal changes. For example, the roe deer. The roe deer lives in woodlands in Europe and Asia. It lives where? In woodlands in Europe and Asia. In the spring and summer, when the weather is warm, it has a coat of short hair to keep it cool. It has what? A coat of short hair. This short hair just to keep it cool. But in the autumn and winter, when the weather is cold, it grows longer hair. It grows longer hair that traps an insulating layer of air next to its skin. Like it will prevent this air from comes to its skin. Why? Because now it has long hair. But in spring and summer we find just short hair. And this long hair reduces the loss of heat from its body. It reduces the loss of heat from its body. This about the roe deer. The stoat, which lives in northern Europe, northern Asia, and Canada, grows a white coat in the winter. It grows what? A white coat in the winter. Do you see the picture down? This is the same animal, the stoat, but here in summer and there in winter. In winter, it has a white coat, okay, which loses less heat than its darker summer coat. In summer it has darker coat, and in winter it has white coat, and this white coat loses less heat. This toad preys on rabbits, and its white coat may also give it some camouflage when the countryside is covered in snow. So it will hide between the snows, between the ice, between the snow, so the rabbit wouldn't see it. Then it would come and hunt this rabbit. The ptarmigan is about the size of a hen. The ptarmigan is about the size of what? A hen. It lives in the north of Scotland, Northern Europe, and Canada. In summer, it has a brown plumage. When I say plumage, I mean feather. That helps it hide away from predators while it nests and rears its young. This when in summer it has brown plumage. In winter it has a white plumage. That do what? Firstly, reduces the heat loss from its body and gives it camouflage, so it can hide from the other animals that wanna eat it. Feathers grow over its toes. Do you see down in the picture in the left? The feathers grow over its toes and make its feet into snowshoes. It makes it as if it has snowshoes, which allow it to walk across the snow without sinking. It will cross the snow without sinking. So these are the adaptations of this ptarmigan. The brown plumage helps it hide away in summer from what? From predators. In winter it has a white plumage. Also it helps it hide away. Okay, it gives it camouflage and reduces the heat lost from its body. And it has also snowshoes, allowed it to walk across the snow without sinking. The lungfish. The lungfish of Africa and South America live in rivers. It lives where? In rivers. But when the rivers dry up in the dry season, they can still survive. How is that? They make a burrow in the river bed and rest there, breathing air until the rainy season returns. They make what? A burrow in the river bed and rest there, breathing air, breathing the normal air until the rainy season returns. This kind of rest through a hot, dry season is called aestivation. It's called what? Aestivation. In woodland in Europe, insects avoid harsh winter conditions by spending their lives in the inactive stages. In Europe, we have insects. These insects, when the winter comes, they go and spend their lives in the inactive stages of their life cycle, the egg and the pupa. In the egg and the pupa, they are inactive. This meaning that insects eating animals such as bats have nothing to eat in winter. So they store up fat in the autumn to give them energy to sleep through the winter in a state of hibernation. Have you noticed that? The insects in harsh winter conditions in Europe, we wouldn't find them. Why? Because most of them, they spend their lives in the inactive stages, the egg and pupa. Okay? So the other insects that, or the other animals that eat the insects, they sleep through the winter in a state of hibernation. In a state of what? Hibernation. Insect-eating birds such as the swallow leaves the countries of Northern Europe in the autumn and fly to Africa. They leave the countries of Northern Europe in the autumn and fly where? To Africa. Why? Because they eat insects. These birds eat insects. They need insects, and the insects in Europe, when the winter comes, they live in their inactive stages, eggs and pupa. So these birds wouldn't find insects to eat. So immediately they fly from Europe and comes to Africa. They spend the winter feeding on insects in Africa and return to Europe in the spring. When an animal moves its location as the seasons change, it is said to migrate. We call it what? Migration. We call it migration. Okay? So that's it about our lesson today about adaptations. We know adaptations to daily changes and adaptations to seasonal changes. Daily changes, plant adaptations to daily changes, we had examples, and animals adaptation to daily changes. Also we had examples, then the seasonal changes. I hope that you enjoyed the lesson. You have to read today. You don't have exercise. When we finish this adaptation, then you will have the whole exercise together. Just please a grade 7, you have to do your best and do it step by step with me, because there are a lot of lessons and you wouldn't be able to read them, all of them together. So have it one by one and read it immediately from your books, and try to do all the questions that meet you. And if there's something that you wouldn't do, just send me a message and I will respond to it. Good luck, grade 7.